1 in every 5 barrels of oil consumed on this planet passes through a single, narrow strait of water. That is a fact. It is a stark and simple truth that underscores the immense vulnerability of our interconnected world. This waterway, the Strait of Hormuz, is a fragile artery for the global economy. And today, on October 18, 2025, the risk of its constriction is greater than it has been in years. The long-simmering shadow war between Iran and Israel threatens to erupt into a direct and devastating conflict, a chain reaction that could have profound consequences for every nation, every business, every household that depends on the steady flow of oil. This is not a distant problem for politicians and generals. It is a clear and present danger to global stability and your own economic well-being. The reason you must pay attention now is because the gears of the global economy are lubricated by oil. It powers the trucks that deliver our food, the factories that build our goods, and the planes that connect our world. Any disruption to its supply, or even the mere threat of a disruption, sends shockwaves through financial markets. The conflict between Iran and Israel is a decades-long struggle for power proxies, espionage, cyber warfare. However, a direct military confrontation would fundamentally alter the rules of the game. Global energy markets caught squarely in the crossfire. Iran, a major oil producer, holds a uniquely powerful position due to its geography-long coastline northern edge of the Persian Gulf, the critical Strait of Hormuz. This gives Tehran the capacity to disrupt, if not completely halt, a significant portion of the world's seaborne oil exports: Saudi Arabia, UAE, Kuwait, Iraq. This is the ultimate geopolitical leverage. Israel, while not a major oil producer, possesses a technologically advanced military. Geography is destiny, and nowhere is this truer than in the global oil trade. The world's energy map is defined by a series of narrow maritime passages, or choke points. Immense volumes of oil must travel through these choke points. The most critical of these is the Strait of Hormuz. This 21-mile-wide channel is the only sea route from the Persian Gulf to the open ocean. Approximately 21 million barrels of oil pass through it every single day. That's about 20% of global consumption. A closure of this strait, even for a few days, would be catastrophic for the world economy. The immediate loss of supply would be impossible to replace quickly, causing an unprecedented price shock. Iran's military strategy is explicitly designed to exploit this vulnerability. It has positioned missile batteries along its coast. It also stations missile batteries on islands that overlook shipping lanes. Abu Musa, the Tons. Its navy can quickly deploy sea mines. Sea mines are hard to detect and remove. That would create a hazardous zone taking weeks or months to clear. The second critical choke point is the Bab el-Mandeb Strait. Section 4. The Ripple Effect. How conflict translates to your wallet. The journey from a missile launch in the Persian Gulf to a higher price at your local gas station is surprisingly short. Financial markets operate on information and, more potently, on fear. The first and most immediate effect appears in the oil futures market. Traders, fearing supply disruption, rush to buy oil contracts. They bet prices will be higher tomorrow. That speculative buying creates a self-fulfilling prophecy. It drives up the risk premium and extra cost added to account for uncertain future supply. This premium can add $10 to a barrel overnight. This premium can add $20 to a barrel overnight. This premium can add $50 to a barrel overnight. The second wave hits the physical logistics of moving oil. Maritime insurance is central to this process. Underwriters at firms like Lloyd's of London would declare the area high risk. War risk premiums would surge from a few $1,000s per voyage to potentially millions. Many ship owners would simply refuse to sail into the area. That creates a real reduction in available tankers. Section 5. 3 scenarios, from a tremor to an earthquake. To better understand the potential outcomes, it is useful to consider 3 distinct scenarios ranging from a contained incident to a full-blown catastrophe. The first, A low-impact scenario. Limited tit-for-tat strikes that avoid civilian infrastructure and major economic targets. A covert cyber attack on an Iranian military facility, followed by the brief seizure of a tanker by the IRGC. The tanker is released after a few days of diplomatic wrangling. Oil markets would react with a sharp but temporary price spike, perhaps $5 to $10 per barrel. The risk premium would rise. But actual supply flows would not be significantly disrupted, and prices would likely recede once the immediate crisis passes. A medium-impact scenario would represent a significant escalation. Israeli airstrikes on Iranian port facilities, drone attacks on multiple commercial vessels in the Strait of Hormuz, or attacks in the Red Sea. The strait would not be fully closed, but it would be deemed a high-risk war zone. Insurance costs would become prohibitive for many. A significant portion of tanker traffic would be rerouted. Section 6. Lessons from history. When the past informs the present. History does not repeat itself, but it often rhymes. The annals of Middle Eastern conflict are filled with cautionary tales about oil and war. The most famous example, the 1973 oil crisis, provides a stark lesson. Following the outbreak of the Yom Kippur War, Arab members of OPEC, led by Saudi Arabia, imposed an oil embargo. The embargo, combined with production cuts, caused the price of oil to quadruple. This triggered a global stock market crash. A more direct parallel to the current risks in the Strait of Hormuz is the tanker war phase of the Iran-Iraq War in the 1980s. Over 400 vessels were damaged, and the conflict prompted the United States to intervene with naval escorts to protect Kuwaiti tankers. In September of that year, a sophisticated drone and missile attack struck Saudi Arabia's Abqaiq and Khurais oil facilities. In the immediate aftermath, oil prices saw their largest single-day percentage jump in history. Section 7. Conclusion. Navigating the uncertainty with open eyes. The potential for a direct conflict between Iran and Israel stands as one of the most significant threats to global economic stability today. The chain reaction is simple and brutal. A military strike leads to retaliation which targets the fragile choke points of the global oil trade. The resulting fear and real-world disruption constrict supply, sending prices soaring and inflicting economic pain on nations and individuals across the planet. Therefore, for businesses and citizens, the most prudent course of action is to stay informed. This is not a call for panic, but for clear-eyed awareness.